Welcome to our second episode. You're kicking it here with the Entrepreneu crew. My name is Oyinade. I'm here with Kia.
Hey.
Britt.
And Khadija.
Khadija, which who I call Katie. This episode is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get into really good detail about how we get started. It is called Figuring Ish Out. So we talked a little bit last episode about just, our aha moments and how we thought about our ideas and our businesses. But now what, right? Like, what do we do next? Like, how did we really start to put things into motion and turn these ideas into reality? So, Kia, why don't you tell us how you got started?
Ooh, it's taking me back because y'all know, what is this, 4 years in the game? You kind of forget a lot of stuff.
You do.
You do.
Along the way. So how did I get started? So after we had one of those horrible wash days, I was just like, you know what? Enough is enough. I went online. I searched on Amazon. Couldn't find nothing. I'm like, I know I had this problem way back in the day. They don't have nothing on Amazon. Amazon got everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't find anything. And so, and not to mention, so my daughter was born in 2016. We were first having trouble with wash days in 2017. But 2 years went by. 3 years. Yeah. 2020, January 16th, 2020. I'll never forget the day. I was at my job and I just could not focus. Like it's like that fly at the barbecue. That was, it's like that. It's just nagging me. So every time I would try to go
the fly.
Yes.
I've actually never heard of
You never heard
saying before.
But you got the experience, right?
Yeah, of course. But I've never heard that as a saying, and it makes a lot of sense.
The idea was just bugging have you ever had something that you were just thinking about so much that you couldn't do anything else but think about that one thing?
Yes.
And so I was at work and I was like, you know what? We just had wash day. It was horrible. I got to find something. Went on Amazon, couldn't find anything. So I said, okay, I'm going to have to create something, right? And so I got a pen and a pad and I drew it out. And I actually ended up texting Jessica, the CEO of Kaleidoscope.
Wow.
Yes, I texted her and I was like, hey, I got this idea. Now I know you big boss. So can you help me, right? Because, Carter's that little Instagram influencer or whatever. And so we were doing some stuff with the Kaleido Kids products. And so I had that connection.
Okay. That's how y'all connect.
Yeah, I had that connection with her. And so lean on your connections. But I had that connection. I texted her and I was like, hey, I have this idea. And she sent me something, a product. She sent it to me and she was like, try this. And I said, we tried that. It's not working. I said, I got this idea for it to look like this and I want to mount the phone up like this. And so she ended up giving me her manufacturers in China. She said, send it to them. She was like, don't tell nobody. I'm sending you this. I'm like,
That's all for today.
That is like, don't tell nobody my manufacturers, but I'm going to send this to you and reach out to them and they may be able to do something. Long story short, I didn't do that. But the fact that she gave the connection was on point.
That is really...
Exactly. When I left my job that day, I went and picked up my daughter from daycare and I took her to her gymnastics class, regular routine that we always do, right? And when we got there, I saw how carefree my daughter was laying on the gymnastics mats. She was falling and doing, and she didn't care. She was just flipping and turning. And I said, you know what? I need something like that, but just on the kitchen counter. And so for me, that was the first sign. And y'all are going to hear me talk about signs a lot because I really feel like God gave me this idea and then he gave me the signs to keep going. And so that was the first sign to say, okay, this may be how you can create something. Because I had the idea. I didn't know what to do, right? I'm like, okay, I want to help with wash days, but what does that even look like? And there it was standing in front of me, right? And so I went home that night and I got Carter in bed and I started searching online. gymnastics mats and like looking at the details, like what was it made out of, what kind of fabric, material, whatever. And then I just started ordering some materials, some foam. And when it all came to me, I got in the kitchen. I didn't know how to sew. I think, Katie, you talk about you not knowing how to sew. But my mom had bought me this sewing machine and I hadn't done nothing with it. And I took it out. Actually, I take that back because I first tried to spray this glue and glue the fabric onto the foam because I didn't know how to sew. That's what happened. My aunt said, "You're going to have to sew it." I'm like, "I don't know how to sew." So I got this spray glue and I tried to put the foam on there. Y'all, it was the ugliest thing. But the idea was there. I laid on it and everything.
So
y'all.
You made your first prototype?
I made my first one.
Like from like start to finish, like the whole, like kind of what we see today.
Exactly. Yes. And I was like, okay, so this is the idea, but this is not it because ain't nobody buying this. You know, I would not buy this. And so my aunt was like, I'm telling you, you're gonna have to sew it. I'm like, I don't know how to sew. So I pulled out the sewing machine.
Okay.
And I did sew one and I was like, oh, this will look a lot better. Like, this is good. Okay.
Duh.
But it was still ugly. Okay. It was still ugly, but it was a lot better. And so from there, I was like, okay, I started looking for local manufacturers. I was looking up like gymnastics mat factory or, you know, just things that were in Dallas, things that were local. And I couldn't find anything. I was looking, I don't even remember the search terms, but I just remember that I couldn't find what I was looking for. The search term sew and cut came about probably through some type of research. And I started looking up sew and cut manufacturers in Dallas. And that's when I started finding all
cut and sew, right? Is it sew and cut or cut and sew?
It's the same thing.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like that one word tweak would bring up
it brought up everything
as far as search results.
Yes. And exactly. So I started calling manufacturers. Now this was during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, everybody was either shut down because they were non-essential services, or they were making masks, everything for the medical field, the PPE. And so the one company was like, we busy. We don't have time. We don't have time.
Mask?
You need a mask? Did you say mask? I'm like, no, I said mat. Okay, can you make a mat? Yes. I need a mat. And that, you know, and so they were like, no, we're busy. And so I really got that message from like 5 different companies that I called. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to, you know, make it myself. So anyway, I made it for Carter. And I was still trying to figure out how to get the bar together. I ended up going to Home Depot and just going down the aisles like, what can I make it? You know, what can I use this? I was looking at everything, child. Like, can I use this? Can I use that? Like, what can I do? And then I got on Amazon and was searching for like different holders. How can I hold the phone up here? And so really, I say all that to say I was just piecemealing stuff together. Like, things that I could find today, like how can I bring this together and make exactly what I'm trying to make? Now, again, the initial product was super ugly. I
still have not seen this initial.
You haven't?
I really want to see it.
I do have it.
Yeah, I definitely want to see it.
I will show it to you. I'll show it to you guys, but. And again, I didn't make it to sell it anyway, though. But
you were just trying to solve your problem.
Just trying to solve my problem. Yeah. So I created it and I posted it on my daughter's page, and then it went viral. Yeah, and so everybody's like, "Where do I get one?" And I'm like, "Well, I just made me one." But if you want one, I'll make one for you too. So awesome. That's the story.
Were you trying to monetize it at that time when you said I'll make one for you too, or were you being nice? Like,
I was just actually being nice because you know I told my aunt, I was like, when she was thinking it was gonna be a real big deal, I was still just like, it's gonna be whatever. Maybe I'll sell 5. I said, I think in the business plan, I even put like I'm only gonna sell 50 in the first year.
Girl,
how many did you sell in your first year?
So I started selling them really selling them in June. And the first year I sold 1,100.
Wow, see that?
1,100
to 1,100.
Wow.
Yes.
Isn't it crazy how our family members, and I'm sure you guys can relate, how our family members can see stuff in us that we just don't see.
Yeah.
Because my mom told me 2 weeks before it actually happened, she was like, I see your nails on a set, like a movie set, or something, right? And 2 weeks later, I got hit up to go to an Eric Bellinger music video and do the nails.
Really?
Wow.
But it's when somebody says it, it just sounds so
far.
I'm like, girl, what? A set?
Yeah.
I just started. Nobody's gonna want me to do nails on set. So that makes I think that is just crazy how our family, like your aunt saw. She probably looked at you and laughed when you said 50.
Yeah.
Like,
she was like, "You're gonna do more than 50." I'm like, "Yeah, no, just gonna do 50." Ended up doing about 1,100, almost 1,200 shampoo mats, and so it's been a journey. Y'all know it hasn't been easy. Those first 500.
You were sewing?
I sold them myself. So I'm working a full-time job. I'm a single mom.
Wow.
And what they say, from like 9 to 5, you're doing your corporate, and from 9 to 5 or whatever, you're doing your independent thing. But literally was up all night. My mom's house was a complete disaster. Every room you walked into, it was shampoo mats. The garage, boxes, the backyard. I think I sent y'all the video, right? I showed y'all it was chaos.
We gotta post it so they can see it.
I'll post it. Yeah, I'll put it.
Link it.
Yeah, I'll put
we
it
have
up
to
there.
link it.
It was chaos, but I think about if I hadn't have went with my mind to continue going after I heard those no's. Like it was like, no, we can't do it. No, we can't do it. No, we can't do it. Like, what if I just stopped?
Yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people do.
Right? Like, okay, it can't be done. But the fact that I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make it myself. Like sometimes you just gotta get in the kitchen and get to work.
Yeah,
you can't be waiting on people.
That stood out to me is that your mom got you a sewing machine.
Yes.
I'm religious.
Yes.
Okay? So
I believe in it
being divine timing, like divine
absolutely
order.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
machine that she got you that you never use, like I feel like God knew, like, okay,
this is gonna be the machine.
It's for what?
Yes,
it's for the future. That's so dope.
Yes,
I get chills when I hear something.
I know, and I've told y'all before, like, my journey to entrepreneurship started even before I had a product, because the connections that I made through Carter has really helped launch me, next level, like super fast. Like the growth that ShampooTime had at the beginning was just phenomenal. It's that what they call it, like the unicorn type business, where it's just because a lot of people struggle in the beginning, and it's okay to struggle.
To get traction.
Right.
But you had a lot of virality in the beginning too.
Because what was Carter's website? It was
Carter Celeste. Yeah, Carter Celeste.
But you said something just about like your journey started beforehand, and the connections that you made and everything. I'm a very strong believer that like you have to like surround yourself with and immerse yourself in the places where you want to be.
Yes.
Right? Or, maybe people that you aspire to be like, or things like that. And so I'm an avid believer in like listening to other founders' stories and like business podcasts and things like that, books, whatever it is, TV shows, whatever it is, surrounding myself with that. Because the mindset, and this could be in any topic, it doesn't have to be entrepreneurship or anything. It could be something that you're interested in, but your mind will then train you to do things to put you in those positions, right?
Yeah.
It'll all of a sudden now, like, the places you go, the things you watch, what you decide to eat, it could be just anything, right?
Yeah.
It's because of you've just
surrounded.
Exactly. Like, so you just, I think that was like really powerful, because it's like, even if you don't like see yourself, being somebody or doing something, right? You just start to kind of like tap into your interest right, or what you've been called to do, it naturally just
starts to progress. Yeah. I think that's really powerful because I never dreamed of being an entrepreneur. I'm gonna be flat out. Like, y'all might have been like, I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I was not the one. I told my baby daddy, shout out to my baby daddy. I wouldn't be here without him because he is an entrepreneur, and like, for real. Like, he always has these great ideas and everything. And so he would tell me all the time, like, you too smart to be working at these people's job. Like, you need to be running your own business. I'm like, boy, what business I'm gonna have? Like, I'm gonna be running somebody else's business. I'm gonna be the CEO. At the time I was working for Boeing. I was like, I'm gonna be the CEO of Boeing. Okay. Right. So it wasn't that I wasn't gonna be big, but I just wasn't gonna be big building my business, right? And so he continuously poured that into me, like, without me even knowing. Right. He was like, you're gonna be an entrepreneur, you're gonna be a CEO of your own business, like, you're gonna, and I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, what business would I ever have? And so I tell him all the time today, like, without you pouring into me and saying that, like, I probably wouldn't even think this is possible. But yeah, shout out
the
to
physical and mental exposure is so important.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how the shampoo mat came about, and it was so ugly, y'all. But people are still using that first one today.
That is so crazy.
That's crazy.
That's so crazy.
They're like, I've been here for 3 or 4 years. I'm like, oh, so you was in the beginning, so you got one of those. Yeah, you got. I'm sorry, you got one of those. Right. But they're still using it, and so that, you know, that's just a testament that you know, it doesn't matter what it looks like. Put it out there. Just start from there. But you know, I talked about how I went on the internet and was searching for materials. But KD, you actually have a material that you created, right? So how was that process?
So the crazy thing is, so I started out with a business partner, and she and I, we were like, you know, how do we make this product breathable, stretchy, soft? Because the issue was, I don't want plastic and latex pulling my hair. It's not breathable, it's not stretchy, your edges are pulling. It's just not, it wasn't what I wanted to do. And I wanted it to be able to be manipulated, printed on different colors. And the fabric just didn't exist. And I didn't know the fabric didn't exist. So when I had the idea, I said, oh, well, let's just find fabric. So when I say scoured the world, of course I hit up Joanne Fabrics.
Yeah, Joanne got all my money from the beginning, child.
No, start with what you know.
Yeah, that's not cheap.
Joanne Fabrics, and when I say spend,
that's not cheap.
Of dollars, and I was like, Joanne Fabrics, like, can I get a yard of this? Can I get a yard of this? Blah. Is this waterproof? They're like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, well, let me feel it. So then I was like, all right. So I bought all this fabric, got it home, like bathing suit type fabric. Because I'm thinking swim, water, you know, water repellent. But bathing suit fabric is bathing suit fabric. You get wet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, that ain't work. So I'm like, started Googling waterproof fabric, right? And nothing really came up. And at this time, it's 2013. So there's nothing out there. Like, nothing is existing. I didn't understand what tech fabric meant. I didn't understand any of this. So my fairy godmother, Lele, I went to her, and when I was telling her what the issue was and what I wanted to do, she's like, you know, there are a lot of fabric conventions, and you need to go to them and talk to those manufacturers.
Okay.
And see if they have something that can help. And if they don't, because before that, I was buying, you know, there was this infomercial with this, like, spray that you could spray on fabric to make it waterproof.
But that's so funny.
I bought this fabric spray from this infomercial, and we
like the stuff they use on couches.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Like Scotch guard type stuff, and I sprayed it on this bathing suit material and all these other materials. It was making it stiff. It wasn't waterproof. Then it was. I started googling, like, waterproof. Like, how to waterproof things. And so different tapes was coming up. Like, so I was ordering, like, glue on tape that you can iron on to things. So that made the fabric hard and stiff. And I was like, this is not happening. Like, what is happening? Then fairy godmother Lele when I met up with her and I was telling her what the idea was, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, no, you need to go to all of these different conventions."
Yeah.
And so we did. There was nothing at them that actually did what I needed them to do.
At the conventions?
Nothing. Because we bought everything. When I say bought, we traveled the country.
Yeah.
Going to these conventions, and we bought everything that was waterproof. But the difference is there's waterproof and there's water resistant.
Water resistant.
Oh,
A lot of stuff is water resistant.
Water resistant.
Okay.
But not waterproof.
It'll wick off
Yes.
temporarily. But if you saturate that with water,
It's gonna be soaking.
It's gonna seep in.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Not waterproof. So the difference between water resistant and waterproof, we didn't know that either. So we're getting all this stuff thinking it's waterproof, and then they're like, no, this is water resistant.
Yeah.
So all the things in the process that you're learning that I didn't know what this terminology was.
Wow.
Yeah.
So finally she connected us. This one manufacturer was like, you know what? Oh, literally, I had we connected with maybe 10 manufacturers.
Mm.
They were all they were sending us samples. They were trying to put these waterproof sheets over things and these iron on things, and it was just not working.
They were trying to figure it out
They
too.
were trying to figure it out too.
Okay.
But then I realized that I was trying to keep everything in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sorry, y'all. But
It's expensive
it
over
is
here.
so hard to keep that kind of stuff. I manufacture in the U.S. My products are made here, assembled here. But the fabric process and trying to get what I needed done here, it took a year and a half. I'm not even lying.
Yeah.
To going back and forth with different people. And that's why I said when I had the idea in 2013, we didn't go to market until 2019.
Wow.
It took
That's 6
this long
years.
to get everything the way that we wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And
It was
that's hard,
perfect
but
timing
you really
though.
want to get your stuff out there, but you can't put some BS out there
Mm-hmm.
because you're it has to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the difference with that though is that yours has a technology component.
Yes,
It does.
the technology is built into the material.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we were trying to perfect. We didn't understand what the terminology was. So, and I'm at the same time, before we even did a design, we needed to get fabric and we would literally our test was we would fill up the water under the sink and hold it. Fill up with a balloon
Yeah.
and then hold it and see if any water
Water
penetrated
dropped
under
through.
it. And if it did, then we were that's not working. And we would hold it for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Usually stuff started coming out right away.
Yeah.
So our fabric, the one that we finally got,
Mm-hmm.
literally you can fill it up with a balloon and it's for an hour and then nothing will come out. I held it up. I was on the phone. I was doing everything. I was
Khadija walked around the house.
Attention.
Yeah.
both on the phone doing the same thing, and we're like, girl, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Y'all
This is
find
crazy.
So how did so you said finally found it, but you're saying it was created.
Yes, and we didn't. So the thing is, so what happened was, so we found this company.
Mm-hmm.
It was a small batch manufacturer, and they were able to connect us. They were like a broker. They wouldn't tell us what their secrets are, which is why I don't own a patent on the fabric
Okay.
because
Okay.
but we're the only ones that use it.
Yes.
So, which is crazy, right? We're the only ones who use this fabric right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't get a patent on the fabric because technically I didn't create the fabric.
Okay.
So I worked with them to do it,
Wow.
but they were already in the process of developing this type of fabric anyway.
Got
Okay.
it.
So I just happened
So
to catch
they
them
say.
at the, so they said.
Yeah.
But no, they were. So
I know,
just happened
they
to
be
catch them
shady.
at the right time, right? So there was this firm in California.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, I know this manufacturer in Asia. They wouldn't tell me who they were. They wouldn't tell me this is crazy. They wouldn't tell me who made the material, what it came from. But when I tell you, after 2 years almost of trying to find fabric, I was like, you know what? I don't even care. When we got those samples and they worked, it was the best thing that ever. And they in this company, and they don't have it. So the other problem was because it's made, and I guess it wasn't at the time this technology wasn't in demand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had the exclusive rights because they weren't selling it and nobody was asking for it.
Yeah.
Right. So, and still to this day, they literally tried to shut me out of knowing who this company was.
Wow.
I'll tell you how I got around that though. So so that's literally how it came about. And I was like, so then once we got the fabric, I was like, okay, how do I make a prototype? How do I make it? Girl, like you, Kia-Shun, I also
Mm-hmm.
I was in my apartment. I got the fabric. I started sewing what I thought it should look like. It looked a hot mess.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll paint a picture to it. Hot mess.
Yes.
But I just wanted to get the idea out there so I could communicate the idea to manufacturers. So then I'm like, all right, I have this idea, and we've actually the first idea totally nothing like what we actually ended up with.
Yeah.
So, because we ended up with turbans, and the other thing I was trying to design was like a cap that like tied around, and it just was like not working, and it wasn't like as cute. And I'm like, this has to be cute. It's just like a hat with a scarf around it. It looked weird.
Yeah.
Did either of you go to YouTube University when you were trying to sew?
No.
Or learn how to sew?
I did not. No,
I
just
not.
put the fabric down there and hope for the
You were
best.
just like,
Well, remember, this was like 13, so I was like just trying to get it done. I was like, I just need to get it done.
yeah.
And so I did it. I went through 3 manufacturers. Horrible experiences. When I say horrible, I'm sure we'll get into that. Horrible. The lessons, so many lessons learned. But I also
can't wait to hear.
I was also Googling manufacturers.
And
That's what it was. Manufacturers.
Terminology.
Yes.
They told me that I should be looking at cutting. So, because I asked her if she could do it, but she's a one-woman show. She was like, no, you need somebody who do mass production for you.
Right.
And she was like, honestly, I don't know anybody that I trust enough to give to you to do that for you, but this is what you need to look for. So that's when I started looking for cut. I didn't know cut and sew. I'm like, cut and sew.
Yeah.
Crazy. And that is what steered me down. And I still wanted to be in the U.S. So I started looking for cut and sew manufacturers in the U.S. There's this website called Makers Row. And Makers Row has a lot of cut and sew manufacturers.
Write that down.
Yes, write that down, y'all. Makers Row in the U.S. But vet them, because they all are not cut the same. Trust me when I tell you. I went through 3 of them, and I ain't trying to get sued, but if you don't want to DM me, I will let you know. I will let you know the tea. Trust me, because don't. So 3 of them, awful. Awful people, awful human beings, awful products, awful people. They were horrible. They were just like horrible people. And I also had attorneys. So, we had this situation.
It's important to have attorneys.
It's important to have attorneys by your side, especially in this kind of process when you're trying to patent. Because when you patent a product, it has to be exactly what you need it to be.
And we're going to talk about
we'll get into that though. But yeah, so that was my process. It was more so a lot of trial and error. I didn't sell my first one. I just used it to try to explain what I was trying to do
to get it made.
Help me create what I really ultimately want. I also bought a lot of stuff off Etsy and Amazon, like just regular turbans, and then so I can explain to them how I wanted to alter them to make them to communicate how I needed them to be for me, because these don't work. And so that's why we got design patents. Because the patent is on our designs, because they're modified to be waterproof.
I see.
And I ordered, when I say hundreds of turbans, I ordered the competition. Because at the time we didn't have but there was no competition we had one competitor. It was like a shower cap at the time. And so we ordered it, but it was totally different from what we were doing. It was hard. It was harder. It wasn't like what we were doing. It was pretty, not knocking it. It was just different from what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't want to copy it. So I had to order it to make sure that I'm not copying what this person has already done.
Okay.
And so, we did it, and we modified what we needed to modify in.
Wow.
So
question for y'all, because it took you started in 2013.
The process
in 2013.
I didn't launch till 2019.
And you didn't launch in 2019. And you started the process
January 16, 2020.
2020. And then
I launched the first one April 16th.
In the same year.
2020.
Okay. Yeah. So that's amazing. So similar unique experiences, processes like timing. So definitely don't let timing discourage you, because it is so different for everybody.
So different.
That's what I was going to say. So Khadija, you touched on 2 things that were so funny to me, because our stories are really similar, even though our products are so different.
So different, right? Completely different.
Exactly. So you talked about Joann's, and y'all, I spend so much money in Joann's. So if you're looking for materials, like, don't go to the stores that are like the big name stores. Like, search wholesale companies so that you can get those prices a little cheaper. I was paying like $7 for a zipper that's 20 cents, y'all.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
In LA, you can go to the fashion district. A lot of
I went to LA
Fashion District.
New York has a lot of places
I went to
too.
New York Fashion District. I spent I took off work for 4 days, spent 4 days in New York Fashion District, went to LA. There was no fabric that remotely did what we, if it wasn't leather or some type of leatherette or something.
Yeah.
And when I say bought so much stuff, like yards of different things, like even Philly has a fabric district. We went everywhere, and we took off work because I still worked full time. I still work full time. Yeah, and it just was like, you just gotta grind it out. But for me, it took so long because of the fabric.
Yeah.
If I need that fabric, the key of the product, the magic of the product is the fabric. And the design. But without that fabric. Yeah.
The other thing you said, Khadija, was you just wanted to get the idea out there. And I think that's so important because we try to make sure something is perfect before we put it out there. But really the perfection, if there's any perfection, it comes from putting something out there and getting that customer feedback. Like you should do it like this. Trial and error. So don't let something, so for me, I go overboard. So I had to just put it out there. But for the people who struggle with, not putting it out there because it's not perfect, or you think you can do this better, you probably can, but just start, put it out there. You'll get even feedback that you didn't even think about that makes your product so much more better.
That's very true. That's what's happened to me as well too, just over time, right? They say that like if your product is literally like 100% absolutely perfect when you launch too late.
You launch too late.
You launch too late. I think that there is a sweet spot, right? You have to find a balance between having a good product to sell to people that they would want,
right? A
good quality product, things like that, and it being quote unquote perfect, because I think all of our products have evolved.
Yes, they have.
Over time. Okay. Have improved. You get the feedback, you iterate, right? Even technology products, apps and software and things like that, constantly iterating.
They're constantly changing.
Updates all the time.
Exactly.
All the
time. It be the smallest thing sometimes, but
all the time.
It can make a big difference.
If you think the design for iPhone 20 isn't done,
it's
done.
It's already done.
They're iterating, okay? Release. You know what I mean? But
exactly.
It's so funny that you were saying like the customer feedback will evolve your vision. For sure. So that's kind of what happened with me.
So tell us
what happened. So I didn't invent anything. What I'm doing, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just making a better wheel.
You're making it better. So IGL Nails.
Personal nails existed. But based on like when I was doing the custom nails, I think me starting that way is what kind of let me know what I wanted my manufactured nails to look like. So when I was looking, like going from custom to manufactured, that took me maybe 6 months because the first thing I was thinking was Kiss Nails is everybody knows what that brand is. They've been around since the 80s, right? I was like, what are they doing? And so I went to Google and I put Kiss Nails.
Yeah.
What do they do?
How
are Kiss Nails made?
Yes.
And
exactly.
All it really told me was that they're manufactured in New York. And I was like, okay, they have their own situation going
on.
They're not going to make my nails, you know? So I don't know what it was, but like my next thing was like, I went to AliExpress because I remember like when I got my prom dress and stuff, I was looking on AliExpress.
Really?
Yeah, and that was like years prior, looking on AliExpress for stuff for prom. And I was like, okay, they sell all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I know it's overseas. It's going to be more in my budget. And mind you, I'm working off of, I had left corporate a year prior. My dad had passed and left me $10,000. So I was like, this is what I have. And this is what I'm using to start my business.
Wow.
I
love that though.
I know that.
Yeah,
I love that.
With my dad is like, business, which is why like it's got to keep going.
That's
beautiful. So I was like, this is what I have, but I got to get stuff for the Lola.
Yes.
So I started on Ali like looking for manufacturers and stuff on there and found some, asked for samples and all these things. At first I didn't know to ask for samples, so I had ordered some and I was like, these ain't nails. It's not cute.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I talked to somebody or something, but they were like, get samples. It's cheaper than buying, whole sample. You can test it out and all that stuff. So I started ordering the sample, started testing with my friends and family. I went through like 4 or 5 manufacturers until I landed on one that I really, really liked. But I'm speeding up because the process I'm going through now, I'm kind of like I kind of started all over.
Okay.
Because based on my customer feedback and going and doing pop-ups and stuff, they started telling me, at first, when I first started, I was like, I want designs that work for me. I want my nails to stay on longer. It wasn't really about the inclusive sizing because I personally have what one would consider standard size nail beds.
Okay.
I never struggled to find nails that fit across, my cuticle. But I would have customers come up to me and be like, I like your nails, but I really need some that, cross across my whole cuticle. I don't want any of my nails sticking out on the sides, and that really bugs me. So I was like, okay, I gotta figure this out. So I started researching, like, does this exist already? None of the brands were really putting their focus into inclusivity with nail sizes. And I was like, okay, and we also, we're doing this in the world now because of Black Lives Matter. We're trying to be more inclusive. Makeup brands are being,
all the tones
really
and shades.
Clothing is trying to be intentional with being inclusive, but nobody's doing this in the nail world. Like, I didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
I think the only thing I would see in the nail world are colors. Right. Having natural colors to fit darker skin tones and things like that. Neutrals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But nobody was talking about, like, okay, well, what about the girl who has your thumb?
Yes.
Or
your thumb. Right?
And if
or
you miss
you
that,
use
you
the
miss
same size across multiple nails.
Exactly. Because if you go get a quarter, or if you go get a penny or a dime and you put it up to your thumb and you put it up to your middle finger, a lot of the times it's the same size.
Yeah.
And some of the boxes, and they're only offering 24 nails, you're only getting one. Well, one for each hand.
Yeah.
So if you got, your thumb is the same size as your middle finger, it ain't happening.
It's not happening.
Exactly.
So then I had to go back to the drawing board and looking for manufacturers that could do this, which means that I would have to have new molds created and all this other stuff. So I'm still actually going through this process because I'm doing a slight rebrand. Because I just want to, like,
exciting.
I'm already inclusive because I am offering nail boxes and designs that are size inclusive for wide, for petite, and for standard.
Yeah.
But I just want to do more. Like, I want to do more.
Yeah.
I think what really helped me was, and we're going to get into this on another episode, was my branding.
Yeah.
Like, that's what really set me apart from other press-on nail brands.
Yeah.
But this, short and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that when you said when I met you and you told me about your brand, I told you I thought about my 2 girlfriends, Jazz and Kia, tiniest baby fingernails. Like, when I say, like, Carter size fingernails. And I called them immediately and I'm like, you guys, there is a brand out here that can fit your nails now. And they were like, no way, this is crazy. That's such a great idea. So I think that is genius.
That's amazing.
That is genius.
Thank you. I mean, it's a thing.
Because it's so frustrating when you get that nail. And I stopped buying press-on nails when, like, they don't fit. And it's like, and honestly, my pinky nail sometimes is the same size as this one too.
As your
the index.
Yeah.
So it's just like.
Yeah, my pointer and my my ring finger are the same size. Yeah.
And honestly, these 3 fingers are all the same size.
Yeah, they are.
They're all the same size.
Oh my gosh.
They're all the same size.
I'm at the
They're literally all the same size. Look.
So press-on nails have a number in the back of them, so they'll help you, like, figure out your size. I've gotten to the point where I can look at your figure and tell you exactly.
They're all the same size.
Wow.
Like, this right here is probably a 5 or 6.
That's a professional.
All the same size.
That is funny.
And so I see my press-on nails because they're literally the same size.
And you won't have enough to fit all.
Got you to,
yeah.
Because we put multiple sizes in the box, more than 2.
I know,
What?
that's crazy. It's like they're all the same size.
So, Britt, you say you went on AliExpress.
Yeah,
I don't even know when I found out about AliExpress, because that's the same thing, kind of like Alibaba, right?
Yeah.
Alibaba is the wholesale.
Yeah.
So the real deal manufacturers are on Alibaba.
Alibaba.
So take note of that. If you're searching for manufacturers in China, go on Ali, make sure that it says verified, do a chat.
Go to Alibaba, not AliExpress. If you really want your stuff manufactured, to find a manufacturer.
Because AliExpress is like the Amazon of China.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
But they're all owned by the same company.
They are.
Yeah, we'll link it below, but it's Alibaba.com. I'm a correct y'all because they like Alibaba.com. Yes, you gotta put the .com on there.
And then AliExpress.com.
No, for real, they don't play about that .com.
If you want to go shopping and you just want to dress from
it's like the retail. It's the marketplace, the retail marketplace for Alibaba.
Alibaba is where you go to.
That's where you can actually find manufacturers. Look and see if they're verified. You can see how many years they've been in business. You can even see the behind the scenes of how they're actually creating things. I think
I love them so much. I got the stock, y'all.
Start, huh?
You got stock on them? Yes. I need to because I get a lot of my stuff off of Alibaba.com.
And Alibaba went public. What, 5 years ago?
You bought stock on Alibaba?
That's a good stock to have, though.
As soon as it went public, it was like $80.
Let me go look it up right now. Because I need stock in Alibaba.com.
Not right now.
Because honestly, I will tell y'all because I use it for my job. You know?
They're up. I'm about to get ready to invest.
Back in the day.
I'm getting. Let me.
I don't know what they're talking about.
I know. Let me
talk about.
I have no idea what
I don't either,
about.
but let me reel it back in for a second. So Alibaba.com, they've been very instrumental in my journey and working with them. But do you use Alibaba.com?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think it's really interesting that you and Khadija wanted to keep your manufacturing home based, domestic at first, right? So you were like, well, I don't want to go to China. I don't want to do this. And Brittany, that was kind of like your first go-to, right?
No, it was expensive here though because with the bar, the entertainment bar, they here in the US they were trying to charge me $30 per bar. But you got to think about it because we want to get our coins as employees, right? And so the cost of doing business,
it makes total sense,
here.
Right? They're
but wait, I was gonna say. But when I saw the price, I was like, send me to China.
Because at the end of the day, for me, it's about us trying to keep the price lowest for our
customers.
For our customers,
for you.
The difference is, though, we started different times. When I started, the minimums to go overseas were so ridiculous.
They're expensive.
Like $10,000.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. I crashed.
And
when COVID happened,
you do.
The minimums became very way
affordable.
That makes sense.
That
makes a lot of sense.
COVID have gotten a great deal because when I started, the minimums were ridiculous. And not only the minimum, but you had to pay the VAT and the shipping.
Yeah.
So on top of all of that, it's like it just was.
It just could.
I see.
You just could.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Find somebody here.
And
things are much different now, though. They are much different now.
That's after COVID.
Yeah. Even before COVID, because like my very first business that I did use Alibaba for, that was in 2018. Actually, I tried to use Alibaba for. I actually didn't go with them, but the minimums were still also reasonable.
Okay.
That was called Beat Bib. It was a makeup bib that you wear to protect your clothes.
Oh.
Wait, this is too much. Like,
wait, what?
You even been to the Beat Bib?
Yeah. Oh, do you know Beat Bib?
I was a makeup influencer.
Really? Yeah, that's my product. I'm so serious.
We were meant to be.
I'm telling you.
So what's going on with it?
It's still on Amazon, but my passion shifted. You know, as
talk about this one first.
Wait, I'm going on Amazon right now to look up.
Do we even know who you are?
Why did I not know this?
What?
I told you guys, like, I just have ideas at the wazoo, and
y'all doing other stuff.
Amazon.com.
Wait, so you got 2 more ideas that you want me to talk about? I'm doing this one too.
Wait, I have secret talents too, but I don't have a beat bib.
No, you do. You have.
I had a
How you spell it?
Agency.
BEATBIB. You get like the biz for your beat. I did that for a while. Like it was my first real. You remember? Are you
you serious? Oh my God, Brittany. This is so cute.
You too.
Y'all go cop the beat bib on
Cop the beat. The beat bib.
You sitting right next to somebody who you have you bought her product and you didn't even know.
Yo, cop the beat bib.
Wow.
Let me tell you what I know about this.
Okay.
Real quick. So I had an event called Makeup and Sip.
Really?
Yeah, it was like paint and sip.
I love that.
I remember a lot of these events, but I would focus on the ones like locally, like in
This
DC.
is how I know about this because we would have the girls come. It was like basically you come, we're giving you champagne, orange juice, turning it up, drinking, and looking at makeup looks, and we're teaching you.
You learn how. I need
You do need that.
I wanted something to walk around. And
Yeah.
I need that because I know how to do my own stuff.
That is such a small world.
It was great. I had a lot of newbies come. Like,
yeah, and it was great for the newbies too because like self-taught
this weekend.
Yeah.
I got tickets.
Awesome.
I had vendors come.
I need that.
The whole thing.
That
COVID
is
happened.
amazing.
I had bought my ticket to Atlanta to do Atlanta, and then COVID hit.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff happened when COVID hit. Okay, so the amazing we told y'all in the last episode.
We are
that
entrepreneurs,
she is
okay?
amazing. So yes, okay, so the beat you started the beat bib.
I didn't, and the reason was because I couldn't get the same quality. The price was cheaper. The MOQs were also better. I actually manufactured those in Pakistan. I found a manufacturer that did it's a textile company. And
how'd you find a Pakistani?
Googled that.
I was about to say, can I pause you for a second? Because we always talk about China, but there are so many other
other ones. There is Turkey. There is Pakistan. There is Portugal. There
India.
is Africa. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The Senegalese. Okay.
No.
The French side of Africa. They're really good with textiles and sewing.
No,
okay,
yes.
So
check.
There's
Don't
a lot of places.
China
is not the only place.
Yes,
it's the only. It's one of the main places that's really accessible because of Alibaba.
Yes,
that's what makes it easier, right? Yeah, but there are so many other places you can manufacture.
Like bags and hand crafted things.
Yeah,
and then Ghana is more.
There's tons of artisans in Africa.
So many, and then Ghana is like clothing, right? They can make pretty much anything.
Yeah,
it's like. That's why I'm actually trying to go to Ghana to move my stuff over to Ghana because I would love that.
Yeah.
Me too. If I could make pricing work, I would love to have our products manufactured in Africa.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm Nigerian myself, so
yeah, of course.
It's literally on my list of things, like my bucket list.
I love it. I love that for you.
Yeah.
Wait, so tell us about
Aarin Co.
Yes, Aarin
Co. So with that, for me, because of my experience with already like kind of bringing a product to life, I already knew where I was going to start. So that was kind of easy for me. I was like, okay, I reached out to the manufacturers I already had contacts with because of Beat Bib.
Okay.
And so Pakistan, China, and I priced it out. And then I went through basically getting samples. And so when you're developing a product, right, it's always important to have a spec. Right, you want to have your specification and everything, or if it's tech, you do that whole pack. But I basically used Canva to sketch out what I want. I had a picture of the designs and styles that I wanted, based on the styles that existed for babies already, and then adults. Right, so satin caps existed already for adults for women. I used them. I just didn't have any for my baby that I was about to have. So I put together a few styles that I wanted. And then I listed out the specs. I want the satin lining to be this. I want the stitching to be this. I want the brand label to be here. I want the size, the dimensions to be this. I had all the specs laid out for this. I did research on sizing because obviously this is like a new thing. What are the standard sizes for babies, right? And what can I offer, because with more sizes means more SKUs.
Yeah.
And when you're ordering, like especially with your MOQs, it's usually
minimum order quantity.
Order quantity. It's usually per color, per size.
Per size.
So basically per SKU.
Yeah, per style.
So it can add up. So
SKU
is stock keeping unit. Okay, so basically every product has a SKU, a number assigned to it. Meaning, if I sell a blue hat, a small blue hat, that is one SKU. And if I sell a small blue turban. That's another SKU, right? So, but anyway, it can add up real quickly when you're dealing with like multiple SKUs. And so I did my sizing and everything, and I said, okay, this is what I feel comfortable starting with. I think I started with one size option for girls and then different colors, because moms, we just go crazy with we want to have all the different styles for the girls. I also started with a collection only for girls because I didn't want to add a whole another layer that I had to purchase for. And I was also having a girl, so my mind was thinking like, girl, what do I make for her? Period. Right? But anyway, I went online. I got a few samples, some from Alibaba, some from other Chinese manufacturers that I found online outside of Alibaba. It's a really great place to find a manufacturer, but they're not all created equal, like Khadija said earlier. So you really should do your research in finding a good manufacturer that you can have a good rapport with.
Yes.
Establish a good business relationship with.
3 years.
That are experienced with working with people, right? And that also want to work with a small business, right? So I would go to these people, I say, listen, I'm starting out, negotiate MOQ. So let's say the MOQ is 500 per SKU. I would negotiate down to 50. And the ones that really wanted to work with me would do that. And the ones that were like, we don't have time for this, I pass on. So I ordered samples from 4 different manufacturers, and based on the specs, and I basically assessed the quality, the craftsmanship, because it's not all the same. And literally, like the last person, I mean, the quality was impeccable. She had other issues, which is why she's no longer my manufacturer. But the quality was like exceptional. I mean, the craftsmanship. If any of you guys out there own Aarin Co products for your little ones, you already know our quality is top notch. Okay. And so once I got my samples, I then started to just finalize basically what I wanted: the fabrics, the colors, the sizes, and then I went into like packaging and all that stuff, which we'll talk about. But for me, I kind of really knew the direction I wanted to head in, and I knew that like these weren't things I didn't want to make it or sew myself. That's always an option. You can always literally like get to work. You can sew it, especially if you have the skills. A lot of entrepreneurs that I know too will teach themselves. YouTube University is your friend.
Yes, it is.
It's hard to scale that way, but yes.
It's hard to scale that way, but it's a great way to start. It's a great way to start, right? I knew I was 6-7 months pregnant. I launched Aarin Co on October 29th of 2021 on my daughter's 6-month birthday. I just knew there was no time for me to be making nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of my beginnings in like getting this product out. But I would really want to point out that like having a really good spec, a product spec, is a great way to start and source for people to find it. Or like Kia said, putting the pieces together. Like she went from a gymnastic mat to Home Depot and poles and a mount and putting her stuff together. You heard what Khadija said, and then me and you, Britt, we innovated within our categories, right? So I took a product that existed for adults and created it for a niche that wasn't being catered to. Right? And then modified it to fit that niche. So like the styles that we offer, the fabrics that we use, always have baby in mind. So there's just, y'all, you guys have options.
Yes, you have options.
You have options.
That's one thing you touched on, was making sure you have the right manufacturer to work with. And we're going to get into an episode about, mass manufacturing and all of that. But I went through a couple manufacturers, and it's important to find one that you're as important to them as they are to you.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you, the first person who I had found to make the mat, I was grateful for them because, again, it was during the pandemic when nobody was taking on special projects. It was all about, saving lives. But I was getting all of these orders in, and he wasn't doing them on time, or something. It was something that was wrong, and I was like, I know he wanted to be paid. And I was like, I know you want to be paid, but my customers want their product. And so I said, and if you don't care about my customers getting their product, then this is not a relationship that we can have. And he told me he didn't care. I walked out. I walked out. And when I walked out, I found a new place that was charging me half of what he was charging me. You know what I'm saying? So find a manufacturer that works for you. And cares about the relationship that you all can build together. It doesn't have to just be the first person that can do your whatever it is that you're trying to do.
So important.
Stuff later, but y'all know I got nightmare stories about me.
She does. You're gonna learn a lot.
When I tell y'all, brace yourselves, grab a drink for this later time, and that's when we get into manufacturing, because people will try this. And I am from Philly, and they was not ready. Listen,
Khadija could not. Khadija couldn't hurt a fly. She wasn't ready for nothing.
So nice.
She could not hurt a fly.
You see the killer in her book?
I ain't a killer, but don't tip me.
It's there. I see it.
That girl could not. She couldn't hurt a fly.
She said test it.
My dad was Golden Gloves. Listen, I know.
So I gave my word of advice for getting ish done, right? Anybody else have something?
I'll go next. I would just say, just talk to as many people as possible, right? The process can seem so daunting sometimes, especially if you're in a position where you don't know where to start. Obviously, doing your research is a good place, but talk to people who you may know that have done stuff before. Listen to podcasts.
Yes.
But yeah, you always rely on your network. It's just always a great tool.
Mine would be to be open to feedback. And knowing that with getting that feedback, you can make changes. You won't lose your customers from making a change, because some people scared to do that. Your true customers will stick around, and it's just making your business better. So be open to feedback from customers, from family, from business besties,
from haters. Okay.
I was gonna say, are you the type of owner that the customer is always right?
I am not a customer is always right.
Okay, I'm not either.
No, but
okay,
I will listen to you.
Right.
And if I feel like you are genuinely trying to give me feedback to improve, feel like it's constructive, I'll take from it and I will make those changes. Just like I'm making the changes to, even my packaging is changing now because of customer feedback.
I love your new packaging, by the way.
Me too. I can't wait till you guys see it.
I can't wait. I need my sample. I can't wait.
I'd say whole focus groups. Like the key to my business and to solidifying the design, because my original design clearly wasn't it. So when I held a focus group and I had focus with family and friends, and then some people that I didn't know, again, had legal protection, so I had my lawyer draft up NDAs before we did the whole focus group thing, and just got feedback. And that's how we have a wrap that you can style any way you want, but the fabric initially was the same fabric that I was using for the turban, and it was too thick. And my cousin, she's Muslim, and she's like, it's like a blanket. And I was like, oh, girl, what?
Right.
And she's like, I'm like, no, I'm just playing. That's good feedback. What do you mean? So then I'm like, all right, here we go again. Now a different path. Now I gotta find some lighter fabric and figure out how to make that. So, and I changed the designs of the turbans based on the feedback and the fit, and also price. How much would you pay for it? What would you do for this? You know what I mean? And this was, I started focus grouping before I even had a product to show them. Like, I started focus grouping just when I had the idea to get feedback. How much would you pay? Where would you buy it? Blah, 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 blah. And what would be your colors? And that's how, and then I put it out to the masses, like social media, my friends on social media, just asking what your favorite colors are, blah, 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 before they even knew what they were. People will tell you, and you take that feedback and take it for what you want, but it does help to get that.
I like that.
That's very good. I love that. Yeah, me too.
You get a lot of feedback.
Yeah, and we videotape the focus groups, recording them, and we got
that's really good.
What's the benefit of recording a focus group?
So I can look back at it.
Okay.
In case things, because when you're leading it, a lot of times you can't take notes. You can't do all the things. So even though at the time I had a business partner, it was 2 of us. We're still in the moment trying to do everything. So we got permission to record it, and all the legal stuff, and and we look back at it.
I love that.
I love that too.
I love it. Okay.
Well, we hope you guys learned a lot today from, how we went from idea to basically the steps that we took to launching, right? We're not all the way there yet, and we'll definitely get there, but I learned a lot from you guys just sitting here.
Absolutely.
So hope you guys did too. And we can't wait to see you in episode 3.
Yes.
And
don't
forget.
Yes.
Yeah,
look,
don't forget that. You do that, Britt. You're really good at that.
Yes.
Subscribe
Mm-hmm.
and hit the notification button.
Yes.
And I think we should give them something to do in the comments.
Yes, we should. You guys can drop a resource that you use to get your product out as well too, that you want to share with your business besties online.
Absolutely.
And if you're looking for a resource,
to
launch your product,
drop a comment as well too, and see if someone can help you. If we can help you, or someone else out there can help you.
Make sure you guys subscribe to our email list, because we will be sending out resources, news that's going on with us, as well as what's going on in the business industry. So
let's go.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
I will